This week I thought I'd do something a little different. I've been playing some MMOs with the Elder Scrolls Online and Star Wars The Old Republic and haven't played nearly enough to give a proper review of either title yet, and I wouldn't think anyone would care for my impressions on these games. So I've gone back and looked at Star Wars games, and I thought I'd look at Star Wars games that we haven't really seen yet and count down the top 10 things we've never seen before. So sit back, prepare to tell me I'm wrong, and let's get our lightsabers hard for some ideas for future Star Wars games.
I see you have constructed a new lightsaber.
In video games, lightsaber combat doesn't really match what we've seen on screen. We've been striking enemies with a weapon that can basically cut through anything, yet our opponents still remain standing. I'd love to see a realistic, and of course I use that term loosely, combat system where we need to block, parry and dodge every attack, or risk losing limb, serious injury or even death. The dueling system in Ubisoft's For Honor would make a great Star Wars dueling game, or even a combat system for when you go up against Jedi, Sith or a Mandalorian with a Beskar spike. Depending on what lightsaber and fighting style you're using would then change and alter your attack speed and strength. For example, Count Dooku's curved lightsaber style, you'll maybe move faster and be able to counter easily, but maybe you're exposed to more force-based attacks. Using Kylo Ren's crossguard lightsaber you'll be slower, but you'll be mainly defensive and, you get my point. And that's where I think For Honor's dueling system would work really well, as you need to manage stamina, health, force abilities and where your opponent is striking from. Add some sweet and dangerous environments like above the Sarlacc pit, or that awesome space bridge thing on Mustafar, and you're golden. Players would then be able to create their own epic duels alongside or against their friends, and you could even have an experience system where Jedi players would get more points for disabling and taking out Sith, while Sith characters would get more points for being fucking badass with their kills.
You're not doing this. The effort would kill you.
Now previously when using the Force, it would drain from a separate energy bar. In The Last Jedi, spoiler alert for that divisive film, but Luke Skywalker projects himself to the planet of Crate, and the strain of using this ability for so long kills him. Now why not have players' health drop when they use Force? If Force abilities are relied upon too much during duels or combat, this would create more vulnerability to attacks. This again would work really well in a For Honor style game. Using abilities would drop your health, sure. You could have your standard health from Force bar like you would in many other games, but you could also have a system in place that if you use a Force ability while your Force gauge is empty, then it drains from your health. Then you'll be sitting back thinking on the fly, do I try and use Force push to knock my enemy down and potentially leave myself open for a single hit kill, or do I try and use something like Force heal when my Force bar replenishes?
Commander, tear this ship apart until you found those plans and bring me the passengers. I want them alive!
Now horror isn't really something we've seen in any Star Wars game before, but what about a horror-styled outing or even a level where Darth Vader is chasing you down, say like in Alien Isolation? Now yes, there are some rumours swirling about that a Star Wars horror game is coming, or a asymmetrical horror game like Dead by Daylight but in the Star Wars universe. Now who knows if that's true, but it could work and it also could not work at the same time. Yes, you could have a horror game where as Vader you'll need to find and chase down rebels or hiding Jedi or something. However, Vader's got the Force. Surely if he and his Inquisitors can detect Force being used throughout the fucking galaxy to hunt down hiding Jedi, he can find players hiding on a map. Unless, if players use Force abilities, then they sort of set off a ping like the generator systems in Dead by Daylight that would alert Vader. Either way, I'm curious to see if this comes to life, because that hallway scene in Rogue One would be fantastic if played alongside friends, all screaming about how Vader is chasing them.
Hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
Here's an idea. A Star Wars title with the gameplay and atmosphere of Rainbow Six Siege. Make the thermal detonator something to be feared rather than just a skin for the grenade. I mean, everyone inside Jabba's palace lost their shit when Princess Leia pulled out a thermal detonator, and if that was just a frag grenade, no one would really care, right? Now you can make the Stormtrooper's E11 blaster rifle incredibly deadly, but awful accuracy. Even Chewbacca's iconic and powerful bowcaster could require a charge before blowing holes right open in a wall. Now I think this one screams to be made. I recently did a video review on Star Wars Republic Commando when its base gameplay could be easily updated, recreated or used as inspiration for a Star Wars shooter. Shit, if this photo that I've made doesn't get you hard, then I don't know what will. Destructible environments, special characters that aren't heroes like Han, Luke or Vader, and let's use Death Troopers that would be the equivalent of a 3 armor 1 speed and tall as fuck, and they're brick shithouses. Rebel spies who could be fast as fuck boy but have basically no health. We've got 1001 different variations on Imperial and Rebel troopers that we could basically have an endless supply of classes to choose from, each with their own unique abilities and loadouts.
That's one hell of a pilot!
We've had plenty of games that plop you into the seat of an X-Wing. The Millennium Falcon, however, needs a co-pilot, and in order to defend itself, people need to be manning the guns, or, playing holo chess. I'd love to see 4 friends all online, all inside a large ship that requires coordination and teamwork. One pilots the ship while the other co-pilots, and will be able to divert energy from the engines to the shield, and even be able to put out fires and make quick repairs, while 2 others are on the guns. A great game to look at for inspiration for a game like this, in my opinion, would be Sea of Thieves. Now that diversive game can be played solo by yourself or with 4 friends, each with their own task managing a giant pirate ship. And the same thing could be done here. If you're playing by yourself, you control a small piloted ship like an X-Wing or a TIE fighter. 2 players, you could have 1 pilot and 1 gunner. 4 players would be something like the Falcon, where 1 needs to pilot, 1 needs to co-pilot to manage the deflector shields and make any necessary repairs, while 2 gunners are each in their own seat. And if the situation doesn't need 2 gunners, then you and your friends can easily call out and manage who has what task. Gameplay could be near that of Sea of Thieves 2, playing as scoundrels escorting cargo, avoiding Imperial blockades, looting and stealing, or even just, griefing other players. Of course though, the world would need to be bigger and larger compared to that of Sea of Thieves, with multiple planets and space combat instead of sea and islands, but it's still a great fun idea that I think could be played by nearly anyone of any age.
You rebel scum.
Yes, Star Wars Battlefront 2 started with you as an Imperial Special Forces officer during the Battle of Endor, but shortly after that, and spoiler alert again, your character deflected to the Rebellion. Imperial fans need a title that has us playing as the Empire and eradicating those rebels throughout the entire campaign. Have us play as a Stormtrooper and bring back the HUD element that we had in Star Wars Republic Commando. Now it's pretty straightforward here, but there are no evil Star Wars games. We all know that mission No Russia in Modern Warfare 2, and imagine if we got a mission similar to that where we played as Stormtroopers and we mowed down a village, or we burnt Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen alive.
We're not getting anything out of these 2. Burn them alive.
No, please, no!
Oh, and I have a message from Lord Vader. He says, you may now laugh about the little orphan Annie joke.
No disintegrations.
As you wish.
Lord Vader.
In 2002, Star Wars Bounty Hunter was released, though we chased just 1 target for basically the whole game. So imagine a Bounty Hunter game with the gameplay of the Hitman series, where some contracts require the target to be brought in alive. It's pretty self-explanatory, but hell, this could be something potentially that Ubisoft's Division team are looking at. Who knows?
His weapon was in the sniper configuration.
Yes, the ability to slightly customize blasters has existed in Star Wars games before, though we haven't been able to completely alter a weapon. We saw in Solo, a Star Wars story, that the DL-44 blaster is a sniper rifle. Imagine the Ghost Recon Future Soldier or Wildlands or Breakpoint styled functionality, but with Star Wars weapons. One of the greatest things about Ghost Recon and the newer titles is that it can be played your way. If you want to go in loud, you can. If you want to have a shotgun with an extended magazine and silencers, sure, go for it. I think this gunsmith system would be really good for a Star Wars game. Just like in Solo, which is a underrated Star Wars film, you could configure weapons in a variety of ways. Like, did you know that the Stormtrooper's E11 blaster has a fucking stock that can be folded out? Probably not.
Alright now, we're fine. We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Now in Star Wars A New Hope, Han and Luke disguise themselves as Stormtroopers and Leia poses as a bounty hunter in Return of the Jedi, and these are among the franchise's most iconic moments. Yet in Star Wars games, we haven't really been able to don disguises, have we? Running away from a group of Stormtroopers and blending into a marketplace or cantina, a bit like the Assassin's Creed games? Fuck yeah, I'm down for that. I think again this would really work in a Hitman style of Star Wars game, maybe more so a Rebellion game though. Do you really think that Boba Fett would take off his armor to blend in? Sure, the Mandalorian did, but probably not Boba Fett. Either way though, this system would work pretty good in a potential bounty hunter solo game, even though I just said Rebellion. Shut up. Imagine the difficulty of trying to take out a bounty alive or freezing them in carbonite, only to sneak past the target's guards and checkpoints to take them back to your ship. It'd be fucking impossible, but it'd be fun.
Impossible to see. The future is.
We've had titles in and around the current timelines, and of course the Old Republic, but we're yet to see a game in the far future, outside of the Skywalker saga and the presence of the Empire or Darth Vader. To borrow from another epic space franchise, make it so. The Old Republic games were and are still fantastic. Disney and Lucasfilm's new High Republic fucking sucks. The original canon story for Star Wars Legacy followed this idea of going into the far future. If the aforementioned Sea of Thieves style of Star Wars games is in this time era, imagine being able to go back to original trilogy or prequel trilogy locations. No one wants to go back to Kraid or Exegol because the sequel trilogy fucking sucked, but imagine returning to Mos Eisley 300 or 400 years after the destruction of the second Death Star to see it as a larger and taller city, with more scum and more villainy, but even also like it's evolved into another age. These are just my thoughts on 10 ideas or concepts for Star Wars games that we've never really seen before. With the golden age of Star Wars games, we had developers taking a chance and creating new and interesting ideas. Where recently we've had the Battlefront games that are basically Battlefield with a Star Wars skin and Uncharted with lightsabers. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's Uncharted with lightsabers. I'd love to see something special and unique come from Ubisoft or whoever is working on the next Star Wars title. But what would you like to see from a new Star Wars game? High-end graphics, creating your own character, controversial microtransactions? Hit me up in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing to my channel and checking out some of my other videos.
I couldn't see.
I'm like trying to read the book and I'm like fucking this thing and you're just like
That was awful. Full speed.